seen fighters struggle to deal with that inactivity as well. So again, I think this is a lot more dangerous than just a, you know, dust the rust off. As I said, this is going to be a competitive fight from a guy that's coming to win. But if Mikey is the fighter that he's perceived to be, we expect him to put a dominant performance on and move forward. And I believe the Regis Prograis fight is a fight that should happen in the early 2022 calendar.
In the rest of the card, what's the one fight that you think could steal the show? Does it involve Edwin Soto, perhaps?
Always. You know, these smaller guys are just giving us tremendous fights. I mean, you remember the fight with Soto on the last Canelo-Billy Joe Saunders card. It was a back-and-forth affair. This is a really tough fight for him against Gonzalez. It's a mandatory challenger for the WBO title. It's a very tough fight. That'll be an all-action fight. Look out for Jesse Bam Rodriguez as well. This is a guy that Mikey Garcia and Robert Garcia have spoken so fondly about. And of course as well, Brock Jarvis, our Australian star, coming here to make his Matchroom debut as well. This kid's got everything. Really, really exciting. Diego Pacheco, and of course Mark Castro, who's here.
Ask you about him next.
Yeah, well, I mean, what an opportunity for Mark Castro. You know, from Fresno, gets a chance to fight here in front of his home crowd. He's looked great so far. He's still at the early stages of his professional development, but what an opportunity for him to fight at his home crowd, and he's going to get a great reception.
And what do you feel right now about the state of boxing after that amazing fight you saw last week with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder? The sport is buzzing right now. It's all over social media. People are clamoring for more boxing. Of course, you've got Dillian Whyte and Otto Wallin next week, this fight card as well. What do you feel about the state of boxing right now?
I think it's in a good place. You know, everyone always likes to champion the boxing is dead mantra. Couldn't be further from the truth. It's a load of rubbish. You know, last week was such a great week for heavyweight boxing, but for boxing in general. You know, a fight of the year contender between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, but it captivated the audience. It got the casual fans interested in the sport we love. And there's so much more to come from the sport of boxing outside of the heavyweight division. But that is always the trophy, isn't it, of the sport. And if the heavyweight division is thriving, the rest of the sport will follow. Joshua against Usyk, tremendous occasion between two brilliant heavyweights. Didn't go our way. Like you said, Otto Wallin against Dillian Whyte in a couple of weeks. Tremendous fight as well. And right now, so many great fights to be made. Of course, when we look at the closing schedule of the year, we not only have the World Championship quadruple header with Demetrius Andrade, but you have the small matter of Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Teofimo against George Kambosos all coming to the zone, probably in the space of 3 weeks. So a huge end to the year, but we must make sure we see those guys fighting each other in the early part of 2022.
Yeah, well, I got you up here on the hot seat. Let's talk about it. Who do you think Devin Haney is going to fight next, and when is that Teofimo Lopez fight with Kambosos going to happen, and where?
Well, I think you know, the reports are that Ryan Garcia will fight.
Man.
Yeah, well, you know, that's a golden boy show. I don't want to upset them, okay. But you know, Jojo Diaz looks like he'll fight Ryan Garcia, which was very disappointing to Devin Haney because he was the mandatory challenger for that fight. But that's okay. Devin Haney, you know, we talked to Richard Comey, made them a huge offer. They're not queuing up to fight Devin Haney. You've got Maxie Hughes, IBO world champion from the UK, on a great run as well. And then you've got the week after, could well be Teofimo against George Kambosos. So there'll be 3 really good lightweight fights. To make the mega fights, those guys have got to face each other as well. But to get those 3 princes, I think we'll call them, not kings just yet, that's a big word, but to see those 3 close out the year in successive weeks on the zone is a big moment for the platform.
Before we move on, I want to ask you about your card in 2 weeks, October 30th, the main event, Dillian Whyte versus Otto Wallin, the #1 contender position. So technically, hypothetically, the winner would face Tyson Fury. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
Well, Dillian Whyte's ready to face the winner of the weekend, which was Tyson Fury. So that fight should be called. But Otto Wallin is a very, very tough test. You see him nearly beat Tyson Fury. You know, a horrible cut come through in that fight. Probably should have got stopped. And it's another big banana skin for Dillian Whyte on that card as well. Mary McGee unifying against Chantel Cameron, the WBC champion, Ring Magazine championship on the line. Big card from the O2 and a really important fight for the heavyweight division. Dillian Whyte continues to take on all comers. He must get his shot at Tyson Fury, and we'll be really campaigning for that.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, from the man himself, Eddie Hearn. And now, for a few minutes, we'll take a quick break and be back, and we'll be introduced to the latest signing for Matchroom Boxing.